Moving on to more foreign affairs. Iran has recently been enriching uranium, and many people consider this to be the greatest threat to American security. They could potentially use this enriched uranium in nuclear bombs and could potentially use this as a threat against the United States. What are your candidates' views on the situation, and what circumstances would warrant military action against these countries?
Okay. First of all, the tensions between Iran and the rest of the world have become more controversial in the past 4 years. Iran is coming closer to a nuclear bomb. They have enough material right now for 5 bombs, and they are getting closer to enriching uranium. Israel, our ally, is going to suffer from this the greatest. They've promised to wipe out Israel from the map. President Obama refused to meet with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during the UN meetings in New York recently. Governor Romney actually did meet with Israel, and Obama refused. Romney is willing to protect the political interest of America and its allies. Obama's sanctions have been watered down by Russia. And Obama is acting scared. Mitt Romney is going to lead this world like it is, and it is the largest military power.
I would like to include that President Obama claims that he has proposed the toughest sanctions on the Iranian nuclear program ever that have existed. First of all, he was belittled by Russia to water down these sanctions and Vladimir Putin. These sanctions have not stopped their nuclear program at all. They have not stopped. They're still figuring out how to enrich uranium. In 4 more years, where are they going to be? Most likely with a nuclear bomb. In these past 4 years, they've been able to work on it without anyone bothering them. And Mitt Romney, he will stop this nuclear program, and he will protect the United States and our allies.
Thank you.
You did say one thing correct during that previous statement, that they have enough enriched uranium for 5 bombs. Here's the key part. They don't have a single bomb. They said that they might have enough enriched uranium by spring. If we're going to believe that figure, not calculated by the United States, but let's go ahead, believe it, they have enriched uranium by then. They have no bomb to make it, and it's harder to actually produce the weapon than enrich the uranium. And by looking by how long it has taken them to even enrich uranium, we know this isn't happening for a while. We're not saying we're not going to go ahead and help them, but it's not the time. Also, Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel. Half my family lives in Israel. Clearly, I would not support Obama if I thought he was against Israel. We already talked about this during the vice presidential debate. However, they had over an hour-long phone call during that time. So go ahead, say publicly they didn't meet. Maybe Romney was meeting with him because Romney needs to know what to do in the future. Also, there are no constitutional rights for foreign terrorism suspects. This is something we need to create. Although, yes, we are against nuclear proliferation. We're actually working on that in North Korea too, something your Romney has yet to mention throughout this entire debate. There are no constitutional rights for them. We are a just nation. We are a nation based on equal rights. We're here to go against nuclear proliferation, but also to help out countries. There is hope. The Middle East is not going to forever be a dark place. We do need to build relationships. And yes, we're not afraid to go in, but we're also not afraid to make things better. Okay.
Thank you. Throughout the Arab world, there's been a large movement in order to remove abusive leaders, and this movement has been noted as the Arab Spring. Specifically, in Syria, there's been a revolution against President Bashar al-Assad. What are your candidates' positions on supporting the rebellion in Syria?
Obama has a very clear position on what is going on in Syria. Obviously, things have been bad for almost 2 years now of rebellion there. It's bloody, it's bad, it's not right. If al-Assad decides to move or build up his arsenal of weapons, we will go in. We have said this before. We are not afraid to take military action and bring the United States there to stop them from building up their weapons if this is to happen. We actually released a few months ago how we thought it might be al-Assad might be on the loose of trying to build up his weaponry. However, that was false. But clearly, by telling the American people this, we're aware of what's going on. We know what's happening, and we're not afraid to take action. However, you cannot just go into a country that's not your own. Syria, by no means, is our #1 ally, and it's not our position to just go in there, create a no-fly zone, give weapons to the rebels. We can't make it a free-for-all. As we've seen in the past under the previous Republican administration, it doesn't work when you go into a country with minimal proof and try to do whatever you want to do. George Bush, let's look back at the wars we're trying to fight off then, which you don't have a timetable on because it's a disaster. Clearly, we don't want to go into Syria if there's nothing for us to do. However, Obama has come out and said when he is going to fight al-Assad if something was to happen. Clearly, we're in support of the rebels. We want them to go against al-Assad. We notice what an unfair regime is, and we're not afraid to tackle it.
Your response?
First of all, we support democratic governments throughout the world. And if the rebels are proposing putting a democratic government in place, then we should support them.
We don't know.
Lara, please.
All right. We have not taken action. We do not want to go to war like we have in Iraq and Afghanistan. There were mistakes in that war, but we have paralyzed al-Qaeda, and we need to continue to do so. We cannot let safe havens of terrorism stay throughout the world. Also, we are the world's largest military power. Even if we aren't putting men on the ground, we need to support a cause that will put in place a democratic government. We do not propose war, but we do support the rebel cause as clearly stated. Al-Assad needs to be taken down. It's just what is it? Humanitarian issue almost. Killing his own people. So it's unacceptable. And whatever it is, we need to help the rebels if they are willing to put in a democratic government.